All right, what is up, everyone? This is your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. I know I am so late doing this review, and normally I do this review live with my friends, but I've been under the weather. I don't know what the hell it is that I caught, but I've been a Diva Down most of this week. I'm just now starting to get reviews done. I did one yesterday for Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm behind on my Queen Sugar reviews. I may just scrap the whole thing and just do the most recent show and keep going forward, because this has not been a good week for me. You can probably still hear some congestion in my speech, as I'm speaking. But we are not here to talk about my health. We are here to talk about Power, Season 5, Episode 5. Happy birthday. And I just want to say happy birthday, Tariq, with your cruddy ungrateful behind, okay? But really, this episode more so should have been referred to, as the creator pointed out, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And we saw a lot of that going on in this particular episode. But before I get into that, I want to encourage anyone who's watching this now, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click that notification bell, and let's get into it and join Diva on her quest to become a YouTuber again that's getting paid. As you know, YouTube has decided that if you have less than 1,000 or less than 6,000 impressions in a year, you can't monetize your videos and get paid anymore. So help a diva out. Again, as I was saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And we saw a lot of that going on in this particular episode, particularly when we opened this episode. As you know, the Italians got shot at because Kanan and Ghost had conspired to have the Italians turn on Tommy, so that way Tommy would be separated from his newly found father. Okay, when the episode opens, Vincent's got questions. He's like, okay, who were those guys? What's up with that? Tommy was like, I don't know. I think it's somebody from Dre. So Vincent was like, oh, the Dre that you said you handled, Tommy? Oh, hell no. But here's my thing. What's your definition of handled? Because handled could be putting someone on mute, sending them a message, or it could be they snitches get stitches and sleep with the fishes. Either way, Vincent ain't happy. Everybody get on their knees. Tommy, Sammy, y'all get on y'all knees. Let's all assemble around. And Teresi, here, you brought him in. Take care of this. Pick one that you can do without. Baby, is that a loaded gun? I was like, oh shit, you got your best friend you've known for years. You've got this son that you just found out about. Who you gonna choose, Tony Teresi? Who you gonna choose? When we see the scene, it's like Tommy's like, oh God, everything I ever done wrong. Jesus, Father God, help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Please, Father God, don't let this man shoot me. I can't go out like this. Oh, Lord. Needless to say, Tony chose to shoot Sammy. Now the gun was empty, but Vincent was like, yeah, I see now. He said, we'll always be family. We'll always be family, but I'm done with y'all. So now Sammy and Tommy and Tony are out. Now Sammy got to be looking at Tony sideways all the time. When Sammy and Tony are alone, Tony tells him, say, man, you know that gun was unloaded. And Sammy's like, you just met this dude. Because Sammy tried to kill Tommy before they even were dismissed. Because he was like, how we going to eat? Tony going to tell Sammy, don't even worry about it. Tommy got us because, he got some stuff going on. Really? Your son is leery of you. I don't know if you figured that out. Hell, everybody should be leery of you, because how is it that you get out of prison from doing a life sentence? And also, let's just close out Teresi's storyline. So Mock and Saxe are desperate to close in on getting rid of James St. Patrick, Tommy, the Italians, the Jimenez, just everybody. So it's kind of like, yo, man, they show up down to the chemo for Connie, Tony's wife, who, has terminal cancer. They were like, so what you got? Give us what you got for a pork chop. My name is DJ Cooper and I can't stop. Tony's like, well, all I know is that Tommy has beef with a dude named Andre. And he says, but don't worry, I'll get y'all something else. Because Mark and Sack is like, that's not enough. Shame if Connie has to die alone. And he was like, don't worry, I got y'all. I might even get y'all a nice piece of china. And Sax was like, but he's Korean. I was like, Sax, I don't think he... Okay, he just... Y'all know Cooper Sax is dumb as a box of rocks. Either way, the setup is real. So I don't know what Tony really is going to do. But what we do find out later on in this episode with Tony is that he is snitching. Now, is he snitching in a sense that Tommy should really be worried? Because nothing that he's really given the federal prosecutors is really helpful to their case. But there is something that Tony can give them in the end. And what it is that when he is alone with Tommy, he sees this check. And he's just going through his stuff. I'm like, first of all, who goes through people's mail? I don't care if you are my mama or my daddy. Don't be going through my damn mail. And I'm sitting right here. So Tony's like, what's this? And he's like, oh, that's just some money that James owed me. And he was like, Next thing you know, we see him down to the docks meeting with Cooper and Mock again to tell them Tommy is laundering money through Ghost Club Truth or whatever it's called. And they were like, okay. Because Tony is so upset by the fact that he got dumped by this family. He said, I protected a lot of people. He says, in hindsight now, given what just happened, maybe I should have snitched. And Tommy's like, what? You gonna be a snitch? You're not gonna live by the code? So that right there should have given Tommy pause about his daddy. And that's why when you invite people over to your house, Tommy, you need to pick up and hide shit that you don't want other people to know about. Again, this episode was titled Happy Birthday. This is in regards to Tariq's birthday solo without his twin. And Ghost picks him up from Choke. They have a conversation. He says, son, let's just say I want to give you all the things that I never had. And it's not really necessary for you to know everything about your mother's and our background. Still, Tariq is pushing the issue that I really don't know my parents at all. But honey, you don't need to know anything. Meanwhile, Tasha trying to order this cake with Terry, silver tongue, I'm a rattlesnake, silver all up on her. And she was like, oh, thank you for coming to the hotel. He was like, you ain't got to stay in no hotel. You know, you can move in with me. And she's like, no, it's just not going to be appropriate. Plus, Tariq is coming home for his birthday. And then they go order this cake. It's really sad because the baker apparently knows this family very well. He said, the usual 2 cakes for the twins, Miss St. Patrick. And she's like, just one. Chocolate. I think she ordered chocolate or strawberry. I don't know. Then also another problem I have with Terry is that since you're so ethical as an attorney and you question Proctor's ethics, how can you be up here trying to influence a woman to leave her husband that you represent that's a former client? You know, attorney-client privilege doesn't end at the end of the case. Hell, in some respects, it don't even end in death either. Whether you die or the client dies, attorney-client privilege attaches. But he keep telling her that the feds are going to come down on him and you need to separate yourself from James. He's no good. So I'm just like, you just one cruddy dude. You trying to cloud the judgment of one of your client's wives. How classy. Angela is talking to Tamika and she lets her know that, remember at the close of the episode, they showed like a listing of this tracker information. And remember last season, Tommy got a tracker put on his car that they activated under a warrant, which was unbeknownst to him, which of course the feds can do that shit. You know, that's what they do. She tells them, oh, Tamika, you know, they've been up to something and they didn't even tell me about it. And Tamika was like, girl, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So they go on this meeting. Tamika says, I just want to thank everybody, especially Angela, for getting the Jimenez, but we need to move on. Angela's like, no, we do not need to move on. We need to build a solidified case. And Tamika is like, dude that you were messing with, he done basically said with the backing of the Department of Justice that we need to cut it. What more do you want? Let it go. Move on. We've got other cases to focus on. And so, you know, Angela is like, okay, whatever. So after the meeting, Tamika confronts Mock and Cooper about what's up, you know, because Angela now knows and I need something. I need y'all to come with something. Because, you know, Tamika knew that they were doing this with Tommy. And they're like, okay, we'll have something by the end of the day. And but I think it was Mock or Cooper said, but you don't really know Angela like you think you know Angela. And then they leave the two black people in the room by themselves, Agent Donovan, the patsy, and Tamika, and she's like, is there something going on with Angela? He was like, well, she did have me go round up all this stuff from this NYPD officer, Brenda Rodriguez, to do some investigation on dirty cops in NYPD. And Tamika's like, uh-huh. And nobody told me. That's interesting. So she confronts Angela about her dirty dealings. She says, I hired you knowing all of the things that were wrong with you. And I know that I am acting in the best interest of you, okay? She says, I don't trust your objectivity. So I gave Mock and Sachs permission to activate that tracker again. But they ain't got dick. I said, did she say they ain't got dick? Okay. But the look on Tamika's face when Angela was like, oh, that's not fair. She said, oh, look, girlfriend, I hired you knowing your weaknesses, and I have to manage them. I was like, girl, right, because, you know, Angela be on some bullshit sometimes, okay? But either way, Angela, watch your back, girl, because everybody getting hip to your bullshit. You in danger, girl. You in danger. This meeting with Ghost, or as I like to call them, the three amigos, Kanan, aka K, Tommy, and Ghost, I was like, y'all are just, I can't with y'all. Tommy is telling the story about how, yo, my daddy picked me because, yo, Vincent was upset about how we had somebody did a drive-by on us. But thanks to that, you know, the Italians are done with me. And that's when Kanan and Ghost exchange this look like, my dog, we did that shit. And so the plan worked. But he said, I'm not so sure it was Dre, though. You know, I'm wondering if it's really Dre. And then Kanan goes like, yeah, absolutely. It was Dre. It was. And then Kanan said, it was definitely that nigga. I was like, okay. But when Tommy said, good thing Vincent only got shot in the arm, that's when Ghost was like, dude, wasn't nobody supposed to get shot? That's the look he had on his face with Kanan, because, you know, they have to be, you know, undercover about this shit. And then Kanan was like, yeah, I came through caping and I saved the day. Good thing I got there on time. And I was like, oh my God. Then they talk about how can they get rid of Dre. He says, we're kind of stuck with Dre because, God damn it, Tate then brought him onto this project. And then that's when Kanan, who stays providing comedic relief and shade, he goes, those pretty mofos always trying to be on TV. I was like, I can't. Tommy is upset with Ghost because Ghost, he feels like he can't do anything without Ghost say so. Here's the thing. Tommy does not think with a clear head, like ever. So Ghost has to do the thinking for him on a rational basis. Not to say that Tommy doesn't make good decisions and that Tommy is not perceptive, but Tommy is not the best clear thinker. I mean, look, he killed his girlfriend that he loved in that dysfunctional relationship, Holly. So we still, you know, we know that he don't think well. He was like, Ghost, you need to see the forest before the trees. And then I was like, okay, Macbeth, but that's not a full quote, but that's what I always think about when I hear that is, you know, the forest and the trees, Macbeth, Shakespeare. He said, I was right there with the Jimenez and I could have got them all. And I was like, good thing you didn't because that tracker was still activated, but okay. Tommy and Ghost go at it like an old married couple. Like, he's like, once I'm done with this, we are done. You hear me? I'm like, he was like, yeah, here go your chick. Okay, you coming to Tariq's birthday party? Yeah, I'll be there. I wouldn't miss it. Then Kanan starts this divisive talk. He goes, Ghost got you think you can't make a move without him. He said, you know that Ghost is just like that bitch in Charlie Brown, that he's always moving the ball. I was like, not Lucy, Lord. So either way, it seems like they've hatched a plan to get after Dre without Ghost's permission, and they said something about Cristobal and the Tanos or whatever. So meanwhile, Ghost is still, you know, working with Tate on this project, even though now I bet Ghost feels like in some respects I made the deal with the wrong devil. He really did. So we have Ghost at a meeting once again with Tate, who he cannot stand, Dre, who he sure the hell can't stand and would probably slit his throat across the table if he could. Simon is like, okay, so Dre is here. He essentially has the same story as damn James over here. We already got one black who bootstrapped his way up on this committee. I was like, Simon, baby, Simon don't, at this point, Simon don't give two fucks anymore because, he got played. James played him very well. Tate said, well, I don't care what you all think. Simon and James were like, but we invested in this project. And Tate was like, I thank y'all for y'all's donations, but Dre stays. This meeting is really just a formality. I was like, you cruddy ass mofo. Now, what would happen if everyone pulled their money out? So he basically was like, but no matter what happens, Dre's going to be hosting the final fundraiser. So anyways, needless to say, Dre going to be hosting at his club. Or so he thinks. Then Simon having a one-on-one with James like, goddamn, I went to Berlin to go find myself and I come back to this shit. You know what? On every turn, you always manage to defeat me, dude. You always manage to wiggle your way out of my shit. So what I'm going to need for you to do to fix this shit, I need for you to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. I was like, did he tell him to wiggle? Yes, he did. Meanwhile, there's a new rapper turned actor. We all know and love him. That boy from Compton, California. Kendrick Lamar. K-Dot in his house. Yo, what's up, my nigga? How you doing, my nigga? I got these gift cards for you. I was like, is he that the crackhead? Like, I knew he was going to be on this episode, but people were like... Some people were like, was that Kendrick Lamar? I'm like, y'all didn't see that shit? Comment, did you? But I knew it was him. So Kanan is coming out of this bodega or whatever. And Kendrick Lamar wrote on his talking about, he was speaking like English and Spanish, but you can tell he's like on crack or he's schizophrenic or an idiot savant. So Kanan like sees that maybe the local crackhead can be an asset to the business dealings I've got going on, because he's trying to get to the Torinos. Last week I said Toros. I mean, I'm so confused. There's so many of them. They start with the T. Toros, but it's the Torinos that he's after now. So he wouldn't take the gift cards. He was like, yo, but I got this bike. And then that's when Kanan was like, that bike, I'll take the bike. So he said, do you know any Torinos? And he was like, yeah. So they found one. He was like, distracting him, telling him, yo, I got these gift cards. I even let you have some of my EBT, get what you got. He talking about they legit, they good for the next 48 hours or whatever. So dude was like, okay, next thing you know, bling, bling, bling. And that was funny because Kanan come rolling up. It's like tick, tock, tisket, a tasket, a red and yellow basket, bang, bang, dead Toro on the street pavement. That didn't rhyme, but that's all I had at the time, okay? That's one dead Toro. And he was like, say, can I get his wallet too? He said, Kanan rolled by with that kid's basket. The bike with the basket. He was like, yeah, you could take his shoes too. Needless to say, he was like, K-Dot had like this leprechaun laugh. It was hilarious. He did very good with that. Yeah, a tisket, a tasket, another Tarlino in a casket. There we go. Then he got another group of Torors again. Actually, I think he only got one because two of them like left. They were at some warehouse that night. And he's talking about, Kendrick Lamar was talking all this craziness about we should all come together because the dude was like, you not my brother, you not Spanish or whatever. And he was like, this Tower of Babel got us all fucked up. And he said, don't think too hard. That shit will blow your mind. And that's when Kanan came out again, blew out another Toror's brains. And now Kendrick Lamar's character, what's his name? Lacey, I think, has all this brain matter all over him. And again, he robs the people. Meanwhile, at the meetup, Kanan is cleaning up the crime scene and doing away with the body. And Kendrick Lamar is talking all this craziness about, they say that dinosaurs aren't real, I'm vegan, I'm this. And he was like, so really what it means is that this chicken that I'm eating is not even real. And then Kanan said something about I could never be vegan because I like pussy too much. I like eating pussy too much. I was like, okay, Kanan, okay. But Kanan thinks about killing Lacey. And then Lacey turns to him and says, what are you doing? And then Kanan rethinks it. And in that moment, which I found powerful, is that the crackhead, the idiot savant, started saying, yo, you don't have a lot of friends, do you? You find it hard to get along with others and this. And that's when Kanan kind of starts thinking, yeah, that's true. That's true. Come to find out, he was quoting a damn mental health commercial, an antidepressant Cymbalta commercial, but it did resonate and it did keep Kanan from killing him. He takes the bullets out the gun, gives it to him, tell him to go sell it. And so it's all in a day's work for the neighborhood crackhead. So Dre thought that he was man enough to play in this man's game with James St. Patrick, Mr. Ghost. But he found out down to his job that the wiggle plan is working. James showed up and he's like, Quinn, what are you in my office for? Oh my God, what is he doing in my office? And she was like, Mr. St. Patrick was here just to remind us that you didn't tell Karen at the time you signed your contract that you had entered into a non-compete clause with James St. Patrick. And the only way I can allow you to keep your job is if Mr. St. Patrick, rescinds the contract. And he was like, that's not going to happen. This is a man's world. You're going to learn today, Dre. So he was like, no, I can fix this. And I'm like, ooh, because that means you are not an asset to the Jimenez organization if you can't run drugs through the club, okay? So here's the deal with Dre. He found out the hard way that yes, you can, you feel like you've learned just enough to move up the ranks, but you weren't ready. Because that's one of the things Simon was like, well, you made him, so basically get him, James. And that's what James did. He came up with, okay, I forgot you signed a non-compete clause. Let me exercise this shit right now. And the only way he probably could get out of it is if they went to court and fought it out. Angela at some point in this episode calls Proctor and says, would you like your law license back? Well, we see how she's going to try to get him to get his law license back is by her talking to Tommy. Proctor has him meet him somewhere, and then Angela comes rolling up. He was like, what is this? Is this a setup? And Angela told him, hi, Tommy. Oh, my God, we're going to get your ass. Okay, but I can give you blanket immunity if you cooperate. So she walks over to the car, shows him, takes the tracker out from under his car, and shows him that this is on your car. And Proctor was like, that's illegal. She was like, no, it's not. I have a warrant. I have a warrant. And I'm like, oh, my God, you are so canceled. And then at one point, once she got home after that hard day that she's had, because, James then called her to come hang out with him to buy sneakers, and she's unaware that it's because it's Tariq's birthday and Raina won't be celebrating with him this year. But then her work calls. So she's home. She gets a knock on the door. It's Tommy. She is shook. She about to shit some bricks. Because Tommy is psycho and crazy and would probably kill her on the drop. But you got to be smarter about that, because Tommy's a lot of things, but he ain't that dumb. He crazy as hell, but he ain't that dumb. So he tells, he walks up on her, scares her, flex a little muscle, and he asks for the tracker back, and he said, I'll do what I got to do. And she says, how do I know I can trust you? Something, but either way, he said, just like you put that gun in your waistband. I was like, girl, you ain't slick. He been on the streets a long time. He can read people, okay? Then this birthday dinner, it was so tired. Y'all, it was just as dead as Raina, thing. I said, Lala trying to keep the party going, her and Uncle Tommy. But it's just, Tariq, no one wants to talk. Tasha sitting at the table being rude, texting and shit. I hate, I try to be mindful of that too. And I hate when people talk. We out, but you talking on the phone too. I try to be mindful of that too, because I think it's really kind of rude if you've invited me to come out or I invited you to come out. Unless it's business, life and death, we can hold all conversations until afterwards. But I have to be mindful of that too. But she talking to Terry, she telling him, Ghost, they showed up, they ain't got no damn cake, and this party is tired. Can you come over and give me some more? But no, and then Angie, her mama like, who you talking to, Tasha? That ain't her mama name on the show, is Debbie Morgan. So needless to say, Terry does show up, and it's a good thing that Terry does show up. Oh, before that, it was funny. There was a funny moment at the table, a Socrates moment. Tommy was like, the only thing I know is that I do not know. And somebody was like, oh, that's Socrates. Because they had asked, Tariq what he liked and didn't like about school. He said, one time in biology class, I answered a question with that. And he said, I actually got an A. I passed. I was like, by answering a biology question with a philosophical answer from Socrates. The only thing that I do know is that I do not know. Tommy says he has a surprise for young blood. And this was one of my more popular tweets for some reason this episode. Uncle Tommy took him on a truthful joyride. Tommy gets in that ass and basically tells him, it was you, I know, that warned Dre that we were coming because you heard me tell your dad. He said, let me tell you something. Because of you, I'm in some deep shit that could cost me my life. Okay? And there are a lot of things that you don't know about what's going on, and you need to stay out of grown folks' business, basically. And I was glad that Uncle Tommy got in his ass to check him, and he said, at the end of the day, like Socrates, you don't know. You don't know. He was like, well, I was trying to help Dre because he helped me get Raina's killer. He said, you just like your damn daddy, loyal to your own cause. Which is probably why Tariq was acting the way he did when his dad came home. While him and Tommy were gone, the NYPD come by because they want to check Tasha's gun. Tasha shares with them that the gun is in fact gone. Terry is there to save the day because he was like, I'm her attorney. He was like, whoa, the detective was like, we don't need to get attorneys involved. He was like, but you come here with this particular warrant, and what do you need to see that for? And she was like, I reported it stolen. I think that was Brenda Rodriguez that was standing there with him. So she checks out. She's like, it checks out. They leave. Meanwhile, Terry is telling Tasha, you wrong for continuing to protect Ghost. She was like, actually, it was me that shot Ray, so I'm not protecting him. I'm trying to protect myself. He was like, you need to stop lying. And so he leaves. Tariq is out in the hallway. So I was like, Terry, so she can't come by the house? She can't move in no more? Y'all ain't moving in no more together? Tariq tries to have a moment with his mom, and he was like, I'm so sorry. He said, let me confess. I don't want anybody to go to jail for what I did. I messed up. And she was like, you know what, Tariq, just no, it's not going to help anything. That's when she said something that I think Tariq is probably going to attempt suicide. Perhaps he'll achieve it. Trust me, I don't think any of us that watch the show, we would be saddened by the fact that this young man ended his life, but at the same time, we don't like this character at this point. But she tells him, just leave me alone, just go away. He was like, did you hope that it was me? Do you wish it was me instead of Raina that died? I'm like, boy, don't nobody wish I was one of their kids that died. Shut the fuck up, go and sit down somewhere. Meanwhile, down at the club, things are going great. Simon is like, but wait a minute, James, how the hell is Dre here? And so Tate was like, well, he's still on the committee, and he's out of a job, I just found out. So I'm going to go introduce him to some people to help him get a job. And so he's like, excuse us. And so they announced that they've raised enough money for the fundraiser at one point during the show. Simon is lingering around there talking about what he was like, well, you made him. And I'm like, yeah, because Dre is still a boy trying to play a man's game. So figure this out, how to get out this shit with him. Needless to say, Simon's creeping around there, wisely deranged looking, okay? But the minister tells James he should come see him and talk. I think we need to talk. And James is like, he said, my son, I'm not your mother's son or something. He was just drunk because he's very upset. Him and Tate end up getting into it. Tate he said, you don't know who you fucking with. And Tate was like, oh, I have a very good idea who I know you. Because he kept telling him, you worthless. Every time I tell you take a back seat, you don't listen. And I'm just like, all right, Rashad, your ass gonna end up in the Hudson River, and then your career will be over. I'm just saying. So then after he gets up, he tells James, you done fucked up now, right? Because he did it in front of everybody. And I'm just like, at the same time, here's the deal. I don't know why anyone has not noticed this. The man is grieving. He's trying to conduct himself in a professional manner, but at the same time, he is grieving. Did you not see how many shots he took? But no, Tate, you got blind ambition. You too greedy and selfish to see. That's why you ended up on the bar. You ain't nothing but a snake oil salesman. Needless to say, he comes home with the cake. With the shoes for Tariq. Tariq talking about, Oh, you been working drugs, ain't no real money. Just really disrespectful. And, you know, they end up getting into a conflict. And he talking about maybe if Raina didn't love you so much and trusted you, maybe she would still be alive. And I'm just like, but look at what you've done to your family. He told them all, get the fuck out. Tasha came in talking about, you need to leave. He was like, where I'm gonna go? This is my house. You the one that left. You the one that left. I was like, but when he took that swing at Tariq and ended up on the ground, I said, oh, you have hit rock bottom officially, James St. Patrick Ghost. You have hit rock bottom. At any given moment, honestly, just between me, you and y'all, I really am waiting for Tasha to bust out and say, okay, Tariq and Raina are not your kids. They Kanans. I'm like, oh, Lord. So he told me, I'm going back to school. And the ghost was like, how you gonna get there? Because I ain't paying for that shit. And I was like, oh, Lord. Needless to say, Kanan takes him back to school. Now, I'm glad that Tariq has at least gotten a little wiser and said no to Lean. But I have a feeling they will find him in his dorm room filled with the pills he stole from his mother's bathroom. Dre still has issues to deal with. Diego shows up and goes off on him about not being at the club. And he wants to know why. Also, Cristobal confronted him before that about the fact that Torinos are getting knocked off the street, and they're thinking that maybe it's he said too sweet of somebody or sweet somebody. And so Dre was like, so what you're accusing me of is me giving orders to my men to have killed your man. And he was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. He said, but you know, Sweet was your number 2. And you took out somebody, or I took out somebody for my number 2. So history has a way of repeating itself. Needless to say, Diego comes in because his drunk ass done fucked up. His gold gun got found at the place where they killed those toros or Torinos, whatever they're called. And he confronts Dre, and he tells him, we gonna get rid of Tommy and Ghost, and it's just gonna be between me and you. We're not gonna tell Alicia. Bad idea, because you can go for Tommy and Ghost, but you probably gonna end up dead, you know, because Kanan is kind of the one that no one ever mentions. He's like the secret weapon. Yeah, 2-Bit, that's his name. I love how Angela always want to act big and bad. But let me talk about this scene, and then I'm going to wrap this up because we have talked way too long, and I've probably missed some stuff. But like I said, I had time, so I took notes this time. And this is what happens when I take notes and not do this live. So the prodigal son is what I call this scene because life has really dealt him some cards. And the revelation is this, that James St. Patrick is just a man. He is not a superhero. He tells the Reverend's like, I'm so glad you called. Let's talk. And I really like this dialogue, and I really want to share the dialogue. I'll highlight some points. So he said, I want vengeance for my daughter's killer. He said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. And he said, it's all God's fault. And he was like, oh, you blame God? And he said, he took my daughter, my friends, my wife. I said, Lord, James down here trying to think that his life is like that of Job. No, see, Job was a good person that did all the things he was supposed to do and didn't put his family in a predicament to get killed and taken away and hate and strife to come. God allowed these things to be taken away from him. See, you on a different level, Ghost. And he said, no matter what I do, Reverend, I keep running into the same wall. The Reverend tells him, well, stop running, kneel. I'm not that type of man, because if I just let go, then bad things happen. He said, well, ain't no good things happening either, because your way ain't working, apparently. He says, who else do you blame? He says, I blame my son because he didn't protect his sister. I blame my wife because she wasn't paying attention to our kids. And he said, well, where were you? And he goes, I was in jail. You know that. And he says, well, why were you in jail? He said, for something I didn't do. And he said, well, then why were you the only one arrested then? And he goes, well, because I held back the truth to protect someone else, and she hurt me as a result of that. So the Reverend said, you held back the truth to protect her or to protect yourself? And I said, oh, good clarifying question, Reverend. He said, Reverend, you don't understand. He says, no, you don't understand. God wants us all to be happy and free when we take our will back. No matter the circumstances, we can handle our situation. I said, amen, that's a word. I went to church and didn't even go today. Amen. He says, son, what would you like to do differently? How would Raina want you to see differently? He says, well, Raina would want me to definitely do things differently. He said, well, then there you go. He said, so you have to be willing to make the change, not just because it's something that Raina wanted. So that was powerful. He said, I want to be a better man. And when we close out, once again, we have another Angie and Jamie scene. He's at her door again on the Lost and Found. And of course, she opens it up and takes him in, probably because she feels sorry for him because she knows what this day means. But anyway, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. I know it's almost time for the next episode. I will be timely. Sunday night, we will be doing the live feed on my Facebook channel. I should try to do it on YouTube, but I've just never experimented with that. So I found it interesting that the last question that the Reverend did ask him, it said, where did you lose your way? And he ends up at Angie's door. So maybe he feels like he lost his way when Angie went away. I don't know. Anyways, we'll see next week. This has been Miss Sophia the Diva. Be sure to subscribe, comment, like, share. Yeah, sometimes the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I've been Miss Sophia the Diva.